What's up, everybody? This is the Unstuck Podcast, and I'm your host, Drew Koss. Have you ever wondered if I don't own a drone, if I don't own an expensive camera, can I actually make content that is worth it? If that's your question, if that's your concern, you've come to the right place. I got you. Let's dive into this message. So, this is a question that I get asked maybe at least 3 times a week. And it's a question that probably uh, gets answered with too much context. Yes, if you don't have expensive equipment, you can shoot good footage. Does expensive equipment make it better? It all depends on the person who's using it. So putting an expensive camera and someone who's never taken pictures before, it it almost doesn't mean anything. But if you got a camera in front of someone who knows what they're doing, I've seen photographers and videographers use someone's basic stuff and it look marvelous. I've also seen photographers and videographers use phones and it look amazing. So, yes. Now, I'm going to give you some step-by-step tips that you can take until you get the stuff that you want. Am I going to lie and tell you that having a good mic isn't important? I'm not going to say that because I believe honestly, and some people who I've learned from, if your audio is good and your video quality isn't like the best, people will still listen because they want to hear you. They want to connect with you. So I honestly say, in my opinion, me being a content coach, the John Stockton of content coaches, I like to say audio is going to be number one on my list. So if you're going to go get something, get a good mic. I have a breakdown of some stuff that I use and I have used. I love Shure mics. I think they just sound so clear and they sound so great. So I love those. But the first tip I would say is you need to clarify what you're actually talking about before you think about buying an expensive camera or buying a drone, buying the expensive mic. You need to clarify what you're actually talking about because this is going to affect what you're saying and it's going to also affect how confidently you show up on camera. If you don't have confidence about what you're talking about, the great looking video, the great looking photo doesn't really mean much. One of my guys, Bobby Kaplan, we always talk about business and editing and all that stuff, and he's helped me out with seeing things differently. He told me something that stuck with me. He was like, "You want to look professional," and what he was saying is, you want to look professional at the level that you're at. So the level of access you have, or the level of skill you have right now, look as professional as you can right there, and then you can grow that. But he said something that was so cool. He said, everyone's doing a lot of like crazy edits, like a lot of stuff going on with like these phone editing tools, which are not bad. He said, but look at one of the best editors in the world, and he's from Nike. He does work for Nike. Look at his work, and it's so professional and it's so clean and it's so simple. And the reason why that's so key is because we get drawn into the video because we know the clarity of the message of Nike. Just do it right there. You're gonna buy something every time you see Nike, every time you see a commercial. So at the level that you're at right now, work with that. As I always tell people, when you see me do videos now, they're gonna look better a year from now. A year from now, I'm probably gonna cringe at my videos now because when I see my videos from 5 months ago, I cringe at them. Not in judgment, but in wow, I was out here in these internet streets. So you want to clarify what you are actually talking about, and that's where most people get stuck at. How do I get there, Drew? I'll give you 2 tips to get there. Number one, who is the type of person you want to help? For me, I want to help the old Drew 3 to 5 years ago. I want to help him, that person, that guy who struggled with confidence, who struggled to put himself out there in a confident way, who hid behind things. Number two is what is the type of message you want to bring to the world? Is it education? Is it entertainment? Is it a mixture of both? And you start with those two, and you can see a lot happen. So the second thing is, if I don't have the expensive equipment, I want to see if I can maximize what I do have. iPhones now can do so much. I've seen people do wonders with iPhones. I've shot in a lot of my podcasts with just straight iPhone. Play around with the settings, and if you don't know how to play around with the settings, I would say go to YouTube, look up your phone, and look up best video or camera settings, and you'll be amazed how a little bit of changes in the settings is gonna make a big difference. I would also suggest sit in front of your camera, put the camera in where you're in front of the camera, and you're going to now just turn it on, play with the settings, and see how it appears on your face. This could change the game for you because now you have some live footage and you get to see this doesn't look good on me. This setting looks good on somebody else, but not on me. So using what you have to the best of its ability, I would honestly say if your town has it, Facebook Marketplace, you get a lot of good stuff from there. My first camera I actually got from Poshmark for $150. It was a Canon camera. I didn't have the money to go buy $800,000 camera, so I was like, I want to learn. I'm gonna try it out, and I bought $150 camera, and it was horrible. The camera was horrible. I was horrible because I didn't know anything, but my goal was to just learn. So look at Facebook Marketplace. Another tip I would give you is ask people in your circle or ask people on the internet, do they have any stuff that they're giving away? Sometimes people have gotten like expensive equipment and they ended up not using it, and they just wanted to go to a good home, so they'll just donate it sometimes. That's another route right there. Lastly, you just don't want to give yourself an excuse of why you're not starting or why you're not doing it. Most of my videos that went like that didn't go viral, but they did very, very well, were some of the worst looking footage I've ever shot. And a lot of it was because I wasn't even thinking about the shooting. I was just trying to get a message out quick. So I'm gonna always revert back to your message is gonna be a ton of the issue right there. Think about how can I use what I have to the best of my ability. Then you want to think about maybe checking Facebook Marketplace, maybe checking Poshmark, eBay. It's good because sometimes when you're first starting, you don't need to go and get the $1,000 camera at first. When you're first starting, you're just trying to get your feet wet, trying to get some repetitions in. You're not trying to go out there and hit home runs immediately. And if you think that's going to happen, okay, stop right now because that's not going to happen like that. And then lastly, don't use any excuse of why you can't do something or why you can't shoot footage, why you can't shoot content. Start where you are at. I tell my clients who I coach, I'd rather see you shoot a bad video than you always put up a crisp like quote post. Nothing's wrong with quote posts, but I know for a fact most people hide behind those. Why? Because it's like less judgment. They don't have to they don't have to confront the fear that they have, but we want that. We want them to confront the fear. We want them to look at that phone, at that camera, and talk because people are going to identify with real people who are saying real things with a real voice. So those are my tips. I leave you with this last. I do coaching one-on-one and in groups virtually. And if this is something that you really want to get better at, let's book a consultation. Let's go over your strategy. Let's find out how do we get you unstuck from the fear of making videos? How do we get you unstuck from not knowing what to actually say to going to being a fearless person for your business, a fearless person that shows up on camera and are not scared to talk, and you're not shy and you're showing up as a confident business owner, or if you work for a business, you're showing up as a confident content creator. Let's talk. My website is www.drewcost.com. We would love to help you. And the reason for that is we understand where you are at because we were there. And if you know anything now, you know that content is king. And without content, your business will fail. So let's talk. Get unstuck, guys, and go be great.